Right, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us for this evening's Fond du Lac County Board of Supervisors Candidate Forum hosted by Envision Greater Fond du Lac. My name is Joe Venheisen. I'm with Envision. It's my pleasure to help in hosting these candidate forums. It's a great pleasure for me to coordinate these, and I thank all the candidates for being part of this, and for all of you who are here in person or perhaps watching this live or after the fact. Thank you for your attention to these issues and for your informed vote. We appreciate it. But at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our moderator for this evening, retired Judge Gary Sharp.
Thanks, Joe. Good evening, and thank you for attending Envision Greater Fond du Lac's County Board Candidates Forum. I am retired Judge Gary Sharp, and I will serve as the moderator for this evening's event. Before we begin, I'd like to welcome the candidates who are in attendance. Tom Dornbrook, Deb Senn, Dennis Stenz, and Jim Sippel. These four candidates will be on the election ballot on April 7th. Mr. Dornbrook and Ms. Senn are running for one seat on the county's 9th district. And just for those who might be interested or wonder, the 9th district includes Ashford and the west side of Campbellsport in that I would guess we'd characterize it as the southwest corner of the east half of Fond du Lac County. Then Mr. Stenz and Mr. Sippel are running for a seat in the county's 12th district, and that is in the northeast corner of the county, including, I think, Mount Calvary and St. Cloud. You can find more information on these candidates, as well as polling locations, absentee voting instructions, and voter registration information on the Fond du Lac County's website. Additionally, Envision will post the recorded version of this forum on their website and social media pages tomorrow. Before we begin, I'd like to mention a few things regarding tonight's forum. Each candidate will be asked a series of questions, and each candidate will have up to a minute and a half or 90 seconds to answer the question. Rebuttals will be addressed if they arise. Candidates and those in attendance are asked to please exhibit professionalism, to show respect for all candidates, for myself, the moderator, and the guests in the room, to be mindful of the time allotted to each of you for responses, although I will identify when there's 15 seconds left so that you have some idea of the time usage. And to refrain from using any sort of technology or cell phone in answering or responding to a question. We'll begin the forum with the same informational question for each of you, and that question is, please introduce yourself and answer the question, why are you seeking a seat on the Fond du Lac County Board? Again, each of you will have a minute and a half to respond. So the first person is Tom.
Good evening. My name is Tom Dornbrook. I'm a retired police chief. I had spent 45 years in law enforcement. I am my current government. I have had over 18 years on the Fond du Lac County Board. I'm the chair currently of the Finance, Personnel, and Economic Development Committee. I'm the vice chair of the Board of Health. I'm the past vice chair of the county board. I'm the past vice president of Advocate Board of Directors. I'm the current president for the village of Campbellsport. And I also I was a charter member and held all offices in the Campbellsport JCs starting when I was 21 years old.
Thanks. Next, Deb.
Thank you for hosting this candidate forum, and just a little bit about me. My husband and I have dairy farmed down in the Campbellsport area for 40 years. We're currently semi-retired from dairying. And I have served on our local school board for 15 years. So the reason for my interest in running for county supervisor is my passion for agriculture and education. I hope that my background in those areas will help serve the county moving forward.
All right, thank you. Dennis?
Thank you. My name is Dennis Stenz from Mount Calvary, Wisconsin. And currently, I'm on the board and on the Highway Committee as chair. I've served on several committees in my tenure of 16 years. Actually, the 16 years was broken into two pieces because of when the board was reduced from 36 to 18, I was off the board for 4 years. I served on the Town of Marshfield board in that interim, and then back on the county board when it got put back to 25. So fortunately, came back, and as serving on the Highway Committee, is one of the reasons I initially ran for county board. I wasn't happy with some of the highway work that was done out in my section of the county. And after about 10 years, I finally got to join the Highway Committee and feel I'm doing a good job of leading that committee at this time. So thank you.
And Jim?
Thank you for inviting us here this evening. I first got involved in politics back in 2000 when I was elected to the village board in St. Cloud. That's where me and my wife reside. That's where one of our businesses. I've been in the funeral industry for the last 38 years, and we own the funeral home in St. Cloud, and we also own a funeral home in the Holstein. And at Thanksgiving of this past year, if somebody would have told me I was going to be running for the county board, I would have laughed at them. But after seeing that post come out on Facebook in early December about the proposed jail project, as far as will this be a new justice center, and the price tag that was being shown, my wife and I attended that meeting in December, the board meeting. And after realizing what the potential repercussions could be for this county, I really have some grave concerns for which direction, which road this county may potentially go down.
All right, thank you. The next question, if elected, what priorities will you focus on in the next 2 years? And we'll begin with Jim.
Oh, I thought he said you.
Oh, I'm sorry. With Jim.
Jim, me, correct? Okay. There's actually two right now, the jail project. I know at that board meeting in December, it was stated by several county officials that all options would be on the table. And apparently, from what I understand, there's only going to be two being proposed at some point in the future. What those two are will yet remain to be seen. Again, I've got grave concerns about the future of the county. I do not want the county, like one of the other supervisors stated at that December meeting, we could potentially become the second highest tax county in the state or the highest tax county in the state. And I have grave concerns about that. My second reason for running is I know the radio system that the Sheriff's Department uses, the City of Fond du Lac and Fond du Lac Fire Department, et cetera, that radio system has been upgraded to the 800 megahertz. And some of the outlying volunteer fire departments, first responders, and ambulance services, some of them do not have sufficient resources to upgrade their radios. So they're kind of being left laying alongside the road.
Thank you. Dennis?
Thank you. My focus will be primarily on this Justice Center. Obviously, that is the lead study or lead project. And as a supervisor at this point in time, there's no way I would vote for any major design that's going to tax or put a levy on our taxpayers that we can't afford. But I do know that we need to do something in the future here. We've got to look at all possible alternatives. I'm hoping that the study that we've released, that should be completed in May or June, should open our eyes to maybe some other ideas that we haven't thought of. But, you know, we need to look at all possibilities, whether it's a downtown facility or a new facility, or trying to figure out how do we fix what we have today. I'm hoping this study might shed some light on those things, and that's what I will be watching primarily in my next term.
Thank you. Next is Deb. Priorities you'd focus on in the next 2 years.
Basically, my top priority is to be the best board supervisor I can be. I am a challenger, so I am new to this. I do feel I have board experience that I'm bringing to the table. I am also aware of the jail and the potential justice center, and I did attend a informational meeting that was held in Campbellsport. So I understand that our county has a need that we have to address the concerns of the county jail and what that will look like. I appreciate that there's a study being done, and I think that we need to wait and see what information comes forward from that study as to how we proceed. But like I said, I'm more concerned about being a good board member and doing my homework to make sure that I make well-informed decisions for the benefit of our county.
All right, thank you. And finally, Tom.
Okay, there's a lot of things going on in Fond du Lac County. I'm going to talk about what 3 priorities that I am looking at is the most significant at this time. The number 1 is evaluating the schematic designs that are coming back to us from Venture Architects, and also this bed capacity study that's being done by U.S. Mr. Wagner. After we find out the design, then we have to decide the location. We have to then determine the number of beds, and then finally the cost. And the cost is the big thing. That's going to drive us after everything else comes in, what we're going to spend and how we can keep that cost down, because we do not want to burden the taxpayers any more than we have to. Then the number 1 is to work with Sam Kaufman on the budget, as chair of the Finance Committee, my committee, to work on them and do our best to keep taxes down. I can tell you over the years, I've heard people say, I'm running for a position because I want to reduce taxes.
15 seconds.
I can tell you, I've never seen taxes reduced. I've seen them held back. And then the other thing is to provide as much county budget money to social services, to those people that are in most need, the vulnerable, the children, the elderly, and the mentally ill, and the people that are suffering from addiction. We need to serve them people, and maybe we can keep our jail population down then.
All right, thank you. Our next topic is housing and community growth. And the question here is, Fond du Lac County's shortage of entry-level housing has been cited as an obstacle for attracting and retaining workers. What role do you believe the county should play in housing development? And the first person here would be Deb.
Okay. I am no expert on economic development, but I have for a number of years joined the Campbellsport Area Chamber of Commerce. And one of the advantages of having done so was to help create a dialogue between the school district and the chamber members. And I have enjoyed my affiliation with that organization and plan to continue to do so. They have been focused on how to build community as far as supporting local businesses and new businesses, trying to attract new businesses. We have been able to experience some housing growth in our area. And again, I think that partnering with organizations like Envision Fond du Lac and local Chamber of Commerce's, we, on the big picture of the county, would be able to bring more economic growth and housing development.
All right, thank you. Tom?
Could I ask you to repeat the question?
Sure. It says Fond du Lac County's shortage of entry-level housing has been cited as an obstacle for attracting and retaining workers. What role do you believe the county should play in housing development?
Well, I hope that the county would have become involved in housing. A matter of fact, the village of Campbellsport came to the Fond du Lac County Board and asked for a loan or a grant, or actually some money to help do infrastructure so we could do some affordable housing and also senior housing. Sadly, that got voted down by the county board. It had to have a supermajority of 17 votes, and we fell one short. I feel bad because the majority of the city supervisors for the county are the ones that voted it down. I still would like to see the county get involved in infrastructure, because that's the big cost when it comes to housing, is the infrastructure. The developers don't want to stick all that money in. We just bought a property, we're very fortunate, bought it from a local farmer. I can probably, or that we didn't buy, but someone else bought, and it bought from the Senn family farm. And luckily, we got infrastructure running out to that. But I think the county needs to consider having some, money and funds for housing.
Okay, thank you. And Dennis?
Definitely, the county is trying to get involved in improving the housing accessibility. There's what we're doing right now at the UW centers. We're trying to parcel off some property that we have a developer that is very interested in developing senior housing units there. We're being told it could be as many as 70. And I think the goal for that is if with senior housing units where we can get the seniors to maybe to move into these new apartments, and that would open up, people's current facility or homes where maybe a young family would be a good starter home. And I think that's generally how the cycle works, and that's the plan we want to follow. And it seems like we're going to make some good use of that UW property through this type of effort. We're finding interest from developers, so it's looking good. And that's where you get the talent, because some of the young people that want to come and work here are looking for certain types of housing, something that they can start a family with. I think this plan that we're trying to push through is one method to get to that goal.
All right, thank you. And then finally, Joe.
Well, I know some municipalities in the past have used like TIF districts to get in new housing brought into their communities. And I also agree with Dennis there, especially out in the area where we live, like St. Cloud, Mount Calvary. A lot of the elderly do want to downsize from their home, because of their age and the upkeep, et cetera. They're getting older. Unfortunately, in a lot of the outlying areas, the small rural communities in Fond du Lac, there isn't a lot of options when it comes to elderly housing. It's pretty much non-existent as far as condominiums, townhouses, et cetera. So the best thing Fond du Lac County could do as a whole would be to work with these smaller communities, not only St. Cloud, not only Mount Calvary, but to do a joint effort to see what can we do, how can we bring some of these condominiums, these townhouses, how can we bring them into your community so yet they're still affordable for these elderly, and that in turn would open up the homes that they want to vacate to younger families, either that are from the area or move in from the area, from out of a different area.
Thank you. Next is a consideration of what it takes to be effective as a county board supervisor. And the question is, as a member of the county board, how will you ensure that you are well informed on the issues most important to Fond du Lac County? So the first candidate is Dennis.
Thank you. I think the best way to stay informed is through our computer systems that allows us to very much, and even the public, have opportunities to see what meetings are being scheduled, what the agendas are. That's a great start where people can stay informed if they wish to. I tend to attend committee meetings that have specific subjects on that I think was important. Finance, I will attend those periodically. The Safety Committee, and several other committees, but that's the way you stay informed, is being involved in committees and listening to what's going on, and watching the agendas. And the county's website does provide all that for people to see.
All right, thank you. Jim.
Well, I have to, I guess the first thing I'm going to say, the days of like the Fond du Lac Reporter informing everybody, those are well past our days. And with social media being where it's at right now, even in my business, I tell most people get 90% of their information online. So the best way to reach out to people, I'm not sure how to reach these people because some don't navigate websites very well, the elderly. Social media is still the best way to reach out to them, whether it be through Facebook posts, websites, a combination of all that, as well as Twitter, Instagram, all that. You have to reach all the different segments, and unfortunately, that's about the best way to reach all these different age groups right now, is through social media.
Thank you. Tom.
I agree with Dennis. I think if we can educate our citizens to visit the county websites, whether it's the Department of Health or whether it's the clerk's office, to find out what's going on in the county. I do have a problem with social media itself because there is so much misinformation out there that it confuses people, sometimes it angers people, and it clouds their thinking. As an example, there's people out there that think we have a $400 million jail. It's a done deal, that we're hiding it from everybody. There was a discussion at Finance the other night. One supervisor suggested possibly a wheels tax. Well, now the whole social media, the Facebook crowd are wild. Well, we don't want a sales tax. This is all cut and dried. I think as an effective board member, you need to reach out to your local media, which Deb Senn and I have in Campbell Sport, who we can talk to, and they will print the right information that we provide them. And I think to be effective, again, if there's a hot issue in public safety, as a board member, even though you're not on that committee, you go to public safety. The same with the Board of Health. If you've got a concern about the health of vaccines or whatever in Fond du Lac County, you come to the Board of Health. Highway 2, I mean, our biggest departments in Fond du Lac County is the Sheriff's Department, the Highway Department, and Social Services. And you need to monitor those agendas, and when it's a hot issue that you're going to have to vote on in county board, you should probably go and watch those committee meetings so that you have the correct information. And that the board meeting, the county board meeting, you don't know which way to go because you don't have all the information. You need that information before.
Thank you. And Deb?
So to familiarize myself with what the county board is talking about, I have used their website to access information, and I think that's probably the best way for the county board to get information out to the citizens. It now becomes an obligation on the citizens' part to learn how to navigate computers and to be able to get to those websites. I also have concerns about social media because of misinformation, because it's kind of a free-for-all Wild West show out there. And I want accurate information for myself as well as for the citizens in this county. So that being said, we all need to help each other learn how to navigate through the computer system.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the topic of budget and finances. The question is, are there any areas of the county's budget that concern you? And if so, how will you work to address these concerns, and what is your desired outcome as it relates to any concern as to the county's budget? So, the first victim, I mean, the first candidate to answer this question is Deb. Sorry, it's on the list here.
Okay, fair enough. Truth be told, this is not an area that I feel comfortable answering the question specifically as it is written. What I will say about the county budget is this. My 15 years on the school board, I worked with the school board budget. And going forward, if elected, I would do the same thing. I have looked at the county budget, but I have not studied it. Therefore, I don't feel I have enough information to directly answer the question as stated. But going forward, know that that is something that I am familiar with, working with budgets from my experience on the school board, and I would familiarize myself with the county budget and definitely want to know that money is being spent well.
Thank you. Tom?
Okay, the county budget, being the chair of the finance committee, our budget last year was $158 million. Our department heads came in and actually wanted more money. They wanted $8 million. With the county executive and the approval of the finance committee, $8 million was withdrawn from their budget requests. Again, we are not going to lower taxes. With the budget restrictions through the state of Wisconsin, how much you can raise your levy, it's not possible, but we can control it. And the other thing is, if we can build our tax base and get more industry and more housing in, then we can have some more money to spend for these critical services, especially, social services is just, they are so busy, and people are waiting months to get in to see somebody because we don't have enough social workers out there. So I think if we continue to work with Envision, Envision brought into our industrial park out at the airport, we had a company that was going to leave Fond du Lac and go to the Sheboygan area. And Envision brought them back to Fond du Lac County, and now they're building, Sparks Ops are building a place out there. And the same, we got a revolving loan fund, and Fond du Lac County does give money to Envision every year, more than the city does, to help develop so we can build a tax base and supplement our budget.
Thank you. Dennis?
Thank you. The budget is very difficult. I'll agree with Tom. Don't envy his position on that committee as chair, because, like you said, we had to reduce the budget by $8 million this year just to cover the increases in cost. Our healthcare alone increases every year by $300,000 to $500,000. So we have got to continually find ways to be more efficient and figure out where we're going to draw in, or bring in that extra money. And Tom hit it right on the head. The only way is through the equalized value that we're being held to. If we don't have growth in the county, our levy can never really increase. The only way we can do it is start cutting budgets, cutting services if we have to, because it's, inflation, as we all know, is in the last 5 years, 4 years, has outstripped the growth in income for the county. So, and we're seeing it in highway. We had to take a $3 million cut in budget this year. We were doing like, I think it's 15 less miles of roads this year because of that budget cut. So it's a struggle. Sam Kaufman is doing his best to try and balance that as best he can. And it's really a difficult situation. I don't know if I have any great answers, but we have to continue to work together to try and solve it.
Thank you. And then finally, Jim.
There's one thing I want to mention, and I would like anyone to go visit this site that I did, and it's called censusreporter.org. And just look up Fond du Lac County. It gives a whole bunch of demographic statistics about Fond du Lac County. One thing Dennis mentioned about the growth of the county, within that, where I went, the growth of Fond du Lac County plateaued out around 2012, 2013. And since 2023, the population growth of the county itself is 0.13%. So that being said, you have to be creative when it comes to budgeting. I had to when I was on the village board, being the fire chief for St. Cloud Fire Department, doing it with my own business. But sometimes you just have to, there's certain programs you probably can't touch regardless. Sometimes you maybe have to look at projects and say, okay, instead of this being done every 2 years or every 3 years, maybe we got to tack on another year and push it out, an additional year to tie up some funds that can be used for other areas that do need to be addressed right away.
Thank you. Our next question is regarding the county jail. And we'll allow 2 minutes for the responses to this question. Studies confirm that Fond du Lac County must take action to meet the state's requirement for housing its inmate population. What factors to be considered in a jail proposal? Okay, what factors need to be considered in a jail proposal that you would vote yes to? Okay, did we follow that? What factors need to be considered in a jail proposal in order for you to vote yes to whatever proposal that might be? And the victim for this to answer first is Tom.
Okay, and I stated earlier, we need to wait for the design to come, the study on bed count, the study on alternate programs for incarceration versus incarceration. Once we have those facts, then we can make a decision. And like Supervisor Stenz said, or Dennis said, if neither one of them are viable, then we'll have to go to Plan B. And there is a Plan B out there, and I'm not sure what it is, but I know it's been discussed a little bit. My deciding factor to vote yes is number one, cost to the taxpayers. Once we know the cost, then we got to figure out the funding. Whether it's a wheel tax, which I don't know if I would support that, whether it's bonding. My proposal, and I'm really going to push on it eventually, is that once we get a cost, that we contact our state representatives. They've got a couple $2 billion surplus, and I cannot tell me the state who demands us to redo our jail or to fix it cannot contribute some money to it so that it is not coming out of all the property taxes in Fond du Lac County. I am not in favor at this time of moving the whole Justice Center out there. I'm not in favor. I will not vote for a $400 million project at this time. If it does go out to the county garage site, I would like to see the design that eventually, years down the road, we can move stuff out there. This building we're in now, I think, is about 50 years old. 30 years from now, it might not be able to house these people, house these offices. Then consider moving out there, and the design will already say, hey, we can put the courts out here. Let's do it piece by piece. Let's not do one big thing, and I will not vote yes on a $400 million or $300 million project. It has to be way lower than that. We can't do it to the citizens of Fond du Lac County. We cannot raise their property taxes that much. We cannot be when they talked about tax, we would be the most indebted county besides Milwaukee if we were to do that.
Thank you, Tom. Deb?
Thank you, yes. I have tried to familiarize myself with this particular issue because obviously this is going to be something that has to be dealt with sooner than later. For me, I think one of the main concerns that I have is that whatever is decided going forward needs to be smart and efficient and long-term, and needs to best utilize the dollars spent so that we get maximum return for our investment. I agree, taxes, I don't want to see taxes go up. So I think the challenge lies with the county board to find alternative sources to fund this project. This project is a need. So I think the county residents need to understand that it is a need. The facilities need to serve not only the inmates, but they need to serve the people who work there. And I also feel that having 5 grandchildren, I want my community to remain safe. So safety and best use of resources is what I need to vote yes.
Okay, thank you. Jim?
Well, after learning about this jail project, I did go back to the Fond du Lac County website and going all the way back to 2024, looking at minutes and agendas for the ad hoc committee, as well as joint meetings and county board sessions. I am not at all denying that there is a jail issue. To me, it seems like there's several issues: jail, police, sheriff's department, dispatch, and the courts. And I really, from looking at these past minutes and et cetera, I know with the county acquiring the former UW campus, did the county ever entertain the idea of having an architect come out there and say, hey, can one of these buildings be used for the sheriff, for dispatch, and possibly put new courts in here? And the only thing we'd have to build would be the new jail, because you're talking over $1,000 a square foot to build a new jail. And that's figures from 4 years ago that I got from the Calumet County Sheriff. So I don't know if that's still the cost now, but you got some structure there that you could utilize for these other agencies, and all you'd have to do is somehow incorporate just the new jail into some of these structures that are existing right now at the UW campus.
Thank you. And then finally, Dennis.
Could you just repeat the question, just to be sure I'm totally clear?
The studies confirm that Fond du Lac has to take some action with regard to a jail. What factors do you need to consider to be in a jail proposal in order for you to vote yes?
Thanks for repeating that.
You bet.
Well, my concern is that we need to find the best value. I think in some of the situations where we've expanded the jail, the reports I've seen said that we may have cut corners in some of the additions just to get the place built, to get the jail built, because it was a budget issue, just like we're talking about today. So you know, we've got to plan for the future, you know, if every 20 years we have to add on to our jail, we've got to be thinking about the future. What do we do to make sure that we can expand in the future? Whether it's the jail, the sheriff's department is overcrowded, they're gonna need probably some relief. And also, we've got to have a plan, if we do go off-site, what are we gonna do with our current facility? That has not really been explored, and that will be another major issue, a major cost. So, to me, it's the best, what is the best value we will get for our money? And what's the best plan for the future? Can we expand where we are? And if we're gonna stay downtown, you know, we're gonna have to start buying housing, and what's the cost of doing that? So I really don't know what the best plan is, but those are the things that I am worried about. We've got to have a long-term plan, not just a short-term plan.
Thank you. Very good responses, all four of you. I'm impressed. One final question. We have time. Looking ahead 10 years, what would success look like for Fond du Lac County, and what decisions made today will determine whether we reach that vision of success? That's the question. I didn't write it. It was here. So, Dennis, you get to tackle that one first.
Okay, good. Well, obviously, you know, we need Envision's foresight on how we attract businesses like Spark Ops that, because we've had the property at the airport sitting empty for many years, and finally we're getting some traction. And also, I think, you know, my goal, because I also, on the highway committee, we take care of the airport as well. And you can't help but wonder, how did Appleton Airport ever get to where it is? You know, everybody loves flying out of there. It's a great airport. It wasn't always that way, and they've grown that thing enormously. And, you know, between the business opportunities and the airport, where we do have business hangars out there, I want to see all these types of things supported heavily so that we can attract new businesses to our area, and employees and employers. So that's my goal, is to make the Fond du Lac attractive, using Envision as our vehicle, and we just got to keep working at it.
All right. Thank you. Jim?
Well, one thing I really want to stress is Fond du Lac County is just not the city of Fond du Lac. It's all the little rural communities that all around Campbellsport, St. Cloud, Mount Calvary, El Dorado. I think the four of us, practically everybody sitting in this room, remembers we could probably go back 40, 50 years, and all these small communities were thriving, and all pretty much were mom and pop shops in these little communities. They're basically non-existent. So what's the next best thing? A lot of these smaller communities have become bedroom communities. So that's where you utilize Fond du Lac. You try to entertain stable businesses to come in, because that will bring in some families. Unfortunately, I know it was mentioned earlier at the city council discussion, the younger generation does not stay employed with their employers like the generation me and older. You know, they stayed put with their employer for 20, 30, 40 years, sometimes their entire life. That's not the case with the younger community. Another thing the younger community is looking for is daycare. It'd be nice to see some businesses pool their resource and form a daycare center for their employees, so they're not strapped, practically paying a third of their wage to a daycare center, where if you could take 3-4 major businesses and say, okay, we're gonna create a daycare center for our employees for these businesses. That would take a lot of stress off of the younger generation, immensely.
Thank you. Tom?
Well, I would like to see Fond du Lac County grow and develop. I would like to see, I think affordable housing is the one thing we really need to push for. If we have affordable housing, I think we can attract industry, we can attract talent, but right now, we don't have it. And like Dennis said, I think that the lots out at the Fond du Lac County campus that are going to be developed for senior housing will open the market for younger people to come in. I remember when I first was an adult, I rented a trailer, and then the next thing I bought a small house. And eventually I got into a bigger house when my wages and things got better in life. And I think that's what we need to do for our young people now. I think we need to keep working. I'd like to keep working with Envision and have them. I mean, I think they're a great thing for Fond du Lac County. We would not have Sparks Op out at our industrial airport park if it wasn't for Envision. They work hard for us. In Campbellsport, we've been very fortunate. We've drawn a lot of housing, I think over 50 houses in the last 4 years. We got more of them being built, and it's because we are building affordable housing and people are moving there because they're affordable. Instead of the $500,000 houses, we have a project right now where we're selling side-by-side, the developers selling side-by-side condos for $280,000. People can afford that. We got an apartment complex in Campbellsport. They want $1,700 for a 3-bedroom apartment. That would be a nice house payment if we had the houses for these people to move in. And I really think that's what we need to do. And keep our county safe with a good, I mean, we've got great services, keep helping social services, keep funding the sheriff's department, and having good highways. I think our county highway system has grown a lot over the last years, and I'd like to see it keep growing.
Thank you. Deb, last word.
Thank you. I did not grow up here. I married my husband 40 years ago and moved here to the great county of Fond du Lac. And I think that in my time on the school board and my involvement through the Agribusiness Council and supporting agriculture here in our county, one of the things that Fond du Lac is very blessed with is that we are ideally situated between major metropolitan areas. So somebody wants to go to a Packer game, we're not far from Green Bay. Somebody wants to go watch the Brewers, we're not far from Milwaukee. And when our children want to go to college, UW-Madison is a short drive away. They can get away from mom and dad, but they still can be close to home. With that being said, I think that we are blessed with many wonderful opportunities, and I think that if we continue to support what we have for infrastructure, and I think that we will be well situated for the future.
Thank you. This concludes the Fond du Lac County Board Candidate Forum hosted by Envision Greater Fond du Lac. Thank you all for taking your time to provide your responses to questions facing our community. Thank you all for your willingness to step up, to serve and ask to serve in a responsible capacity like a county board member. It takes an enormous amount of time and effort for an individual to do that, and I applaud and respect all of you for your willingness to do so. I'm very impressed with your answers, your thoughtfulness. The county is lucky to have these candidates. Please be sure to vote on April 7th. You can find more information on the candidates, on polling information, on the Fond du Lac County's website. And again, this will be broadcast, or at least available on the Envision website as well. Good luck, all of you. Thank you.